is Raina Campbell, your Chief Dream Driver, and welcome to the No Parking Podcast, where through conversations and discussions with creators like yourself, we'll find interesting approaches to help you take your dreams out of park, put them in drive, and ride towards success.
Self-love is not something, it's not a destination. Nothing in life is like you get to a destination. Everything is a constant working at it, because that's just the flow of life. It's ebb and flow, right? You have to keep working at things, meaning you don't get to a point where you love yourself so much that nothing could ever stop you from loving yourself. That's not true.
Hey Dream Drivers, welcome to episode 102 of the Dreams and Drive podcast. And today, our guest is Fabienne Daniel, who you guys just heard in the intro. And the topic that we're going to talk about is the idea of doing the work. Now, as you ride towards your dreams, there are going to be many obstacles that come your way. But what matters the most is how you do the work, meaning how will you navigate through them? It's a lot easier said than done. And on this episode, Fab, who is an entrepreneur, mom, project and market coordinator, and certified Phase 2 master personal fitness trainer, really talks about her dream driving journey. From growing up in a strict household as a child to moving away from home, discovering herself, and really finding the two biggest blessings of her life, which she says is Buddhism and her son. She talks about a lot of the challenges that she's faced along the way, including dealing with the incarceration and the later murder of her child's father, battling depression and weight gain, and focusing on really trying to change her life for the better. I really enjoy this episode, and I think that you guys will like just Fab's spirit. I think it's going to be a departure, one of those episodes that you can just listen to and feel inspired by. Some of the things that we're going to discuss in this episode include finding one's life purpose, Buddhism, dealing with the murder of her child's father, as I said, falling in love with her body again, the power of self-love and how to replenish it, how Fab turned her fitness journey into a business, connecting mind and body, the key to true transformation in one's life, what being happy truly means. I am so appreciative of everyone who has just really shared episodes that they have been listening to. I enjoy personally going on Instagram and seeing the notifications for Instagram stories and you guys sharing it there. So if you want to share, go ahead and screenshot wherever you're listening, right? And go share it on Facebook, Twitter. We are at Dreams and Drive across the board. You can also use the hashtag Dreams and Drive when sharing as well. I've been sending out a lot of personal emails for the past few weeks, so if you want to be part of our online newsletter community, just go to dreamsanddrive.com/join to sign up there. Now, we still are doing a giveaway in episode 101 with Ursula Stephen. I mentioned that we were doing a giveaway with curls, and we are still holding that giveaway, and it's going to be ending on September 4th. So if you want to enter, just go to dreamsanddrive.com/win, and 10 listeners will be winning their triple threat collection. As always, today's show notes can be found at dreamsanddrive.com and by clicking on episode 102. And if you are listening to us on Apple Podcasts, please rate, review, and subscribe. I love going in and reading what you guys are saying about the show. I truly do appreciate it. And as you know, ratings help other people find us. It helps when we're reaching out to advertisers. It just helps across the board. So I really do appreciate and would love for more of you guys to leave your comments and your thoughts by rating, reviewing, and subscribing on Apple Podcast. All right, hope you enjoy. Hi, Fab. Welcome to this episode of Dreams and Drive. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Hi, Raina. Well, I'm excited as well, and thank you for having me.
Let's start it, where I love to start our podcast is by taking it back. So, Fab, close your eyes, right? Tell me, what inspired the young Fab? Who were you, what were you like as an 8-year-old, 9-year-old? What was inspiring you back then?
When I look back, I remember that I really loved dancing. Mm-hmm. And I remember one summer I watched the movie Coming to America. And in one of the scenes there were just a lot of people dancing, right before the bridesmaid, the bride was to enter, there was all this dancing and moving. And I've always been that child, the one who's just always, energetic, love to dance. You put a song on and I'm moving. That one movie really resonated or touched something within me that I've always been comfortable in expressing myself as far as with dancing.
Did you do dance in school? Did you how did that whole desire and love of dance evolve over time?
Good question. I was raised Seventh-day Adventist, and my mom was a true devout Adventist. And so a few things weren't allowed. I remember signing up for African dance class in my elementary school. Mm-hmm. And then I think 2 months later, she said that it was against, our religion. And so I just couldn't attend dance class. I think because of that, I've always had this, I need to try things. I need to try and do things. But of course, because of my religion, I was restricted. And I think that grew a hunger within me to just want to do it at some point one day, when I get older, when I'm able to make my own choices.
So did you have a dream, although, your mom didn't allow you to do the dance classes, was there another dream that you were trying to pursue during your early years?
I don't recall at that age that I was trying to pursue a dream, but I do know that I had this vision. Mm-hmm. And the vision was always, where I'm part of something really, truly big. It's hard for me to remember or recall if I had a dream that I was pursuing, but I know that I had this, very colorful vision of just, I don't know, maybe becoming a dancer, because that's what I really, really loved doing when I was younger. All right. Well, the thing about high school was I attended Murray Bertram High School in Manhattan, and I graduated in 3 years. I was always really that type where you've given me something to do, and it's like I have a gift of focus, and I will just focus on just that one thing, which is a good and a bad thing. But anyway, I graduated in 3.5 years. Well, no, 3 years. So I graduated my third year, which was supposed to be my junior year. And before I graduated, there was a program that you can sign up for, and it tied into Columbia University. And I thought, hey, well, this is probably a good opportunity for me. My GPA at the time was, 3.5? Mm-hmm. So I applied, I got accepted, and so I was accepted to the psychology department. They were running this research on rhesus macaques with Dr. Skimmerhorn at the time. And so I was able to work with postgraduate students on this research. And so I was part of the lab where, I would monitor the monkeys and, load in all the information for them, where they would play these memory games on screen. And anyway, so I thought, you know what? I really love this campus. I really love this lifestyle. I'd love to attend. So, Columbia University is an Ivy League school and very expensive. I didn't have a scholarship. So there was a program because of this internship I was doing that I was eligible to apply for through the General Studies Department or School of Columbia. Anyway, I applied, and what happened was I didn't have enough resources, and so I had to make a decision. Do I, take out all these loans at the time where my mom wouldn't even be able to support really, or do I, take some time off because I just really literally spent 3 years just
Grueling.
Yes.
You were like, when you were talking about that, I'm like, whoa, was high school fun?
Yes,
Like,
what was wrong with me, right?
that was serious. Okay, sorry for interrupting you.
No, not at all. It's fine. And so I said, you know what do I do? Or do I work a little bit and then figure it all out after? So I had an English teacher that really, really appreciated my work ethics. And so I was close to her, and I spoke to her, and she said, whatever decision you make, I think that you'll make the right decision. So at the time, I, decided, okay, I can't really do this because of financial reasons. And I was supposed to look into Barnard, and I said, you know what, I'll take some time off. So I started working. And luckily, I started working for Medgar Evers College, the City University of New York. Mm-hmm. And there, the bursar, I was working for a temping agency, and the bursar noticed, again, my work ethic and said to me, I'd love for you to be an assistant bursar, or at least be in the bursar's office where you're helping students with their financial issues. And I said, whoa, okay, I'll do that.
How old were you at this time?
At that time, I was 18. 18.
Wow.
I was 18. And so I started working at Medgar Evers College, and I worked there for about 3.5 years. And then September 11th happened. After September 11th happened, there were just so many issues. And I remember thinking, I want to move out of Brooklyn. So I moved to Long Island. I lived in Valley Stream, and there I found work for a family. They owned a gas station, a mechanic shop, and they had a BP Amoco station at the time. They actually had 3.
Wow.
And then they had Avis Rental Car. And there I took a position there where I just sort of ran the businesses for them. And I worked there for about 6 years. But while I worked there, I worked on my degree. So at my
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah,
Come on. I miss doing a lot in high school. What happened to the degree?
So basically, that's how I was able to get my degree. Because I worked at Medgar Evers College, I was able to submit for tuition reimbursement as long as my grades were C or above. And also, there were times where I would get permit, I forget how they called it back then, but basically they give you a voucher where you can take a class and not pay for it. And, I took that opportunity, and that's how I was able to get my associates from Kingsborough College and bachelor's from Brooklyn College.
When we first connected, we realized that we had a mutual, I don't want to say friendship, but a mutual location connection. So it turns out that you said that your child's father was from Orange, and I'm from Orange. And when you mentioned his name and the story behind him, I was like, wow, I definitely know who he is. I definitely heard the story. How did you end up in Orange? How did you come from Long Island, New York, and come to Orange, and what's happening during this part of your life that led you over this part of the world to this part of the world?
One word: relationship. I basically met someone, and I guess it made sense. Well, not made sense. Again, curiosity kills the cat, right? But anyhow, didn't kill me. If anything, opened more doors. I wanted something new. After working there for 6 years, about 6.5 years, it seemed like it was time for a change. And I was in this relationship. He was living in New Jersey. And so, it was either he moved to Long Island or moved to New Jersey. And at the time, when we looked at our expenses, and, we're going to get married, I thought, okay, I'll try New Jersey. It just made more sense on paper. So I moved to New Jersey. And when I moved to New Jersey, I had to really just learn a whole different new way of how people, or the pace of people, because coming from New York to New Jersey, there is a change,
What's the change?
I think New York, is more high pace. There's this energy level in New York that sort of is higher than when you're in New Jersey. or at least the part where I lived.
What's something that you learned about yourself during this transition in your life?
I think that, when we do things or try something new, there's always this inkling feeling of why you should or should not do it, right? Or this feeling of, if I do this, something may go wrong. I always ignore that feeling some way, somehow. And I think that I've learned that I have more courage than I think that I do.
So, Fab, what do you think was one of the best things that happened to you, after moving to New Jersey?
After I moved to New Jersey, well, two great things happened for me when I moved to New Jersey. And one is that, that saying where it says that the two most important days of your life is the day you were born and the day you find out why? Mm-hmm. I feel like that is where I really found out why, or my purpose in life. And like I explained to you, I always try to keep busy. I was working, during the day, and I took on this part-time job as a bookkeeper for Elite Physician Services. And there I met a good friend who's a good friend now, who introduced me to Buddhism. And when she introduced me, I really felt a connection to this practice. I really felt like it had a lot of answers to questions that just never really were answered or clear for me, that were never really answered. And so that was one great thing that happened, that I was able to find something that I felt connected to spiritually, and that was really able to help me, work on being or becoming a better human being, or really understanding my existence. Mm-hmm. So that was one thing. The second thing was my son. I gave birth to a beautiful, beautiful boy who is now 6. And those were the two great things that happened for me in New Jersey.
All right. So Buddhism and your son, I think these are, even in the work that you do now, like those are definitely big components of your why. And a lot of times in the podcast, we always talk about people's why, right? Let's talk about your son and how his life kind of changed your life. How so?
Oh, my. When I first laid eyes on him, and you hear this all the time, I always hear other people say this, I think that you really understood, or there was this, it's hard to put into words, but I think you just really understand nature when you look at a newborn baby. You understand love, being neutral. I remember just looking at him and just letting go of any negative feeling that I've harbored inside, whether, it was in the forefront of my mind or not. I just looked at him and felt like, wow, this is an angel, and I need to change.
What did you need to change?
Meaning, I needed to change. I guess when I say I needed to change, not that I'm like transitioning from a bad person to another, but it was just as if I think I needed to look at life differently. I needed to sort of have, this view of caring for someone else, not looking at caring for just me. You know what I mean? Like, It was more of a coming from a selfish, me, versus, wow, I have someone else to take care of. It's hard to put into words, honestly.
Your son was born, and when we first connected, the way that we found out we had this mutual connection was that we figured out that we both knew. Well, I didn't personally know your son's father, but I heard of him because he was from Orange, and in the news, I want to say, how long ago was it?
December 2015.
Yeah,
December 17th.
He was murdered, and it was a big news story, a big local news story. He was murdered in, I think, West Orange, and a lot of people that I knew personally knew him, and it was just this really big thing in Orange. Like, what? How did that
happen?
How did that affect you? And like, what? I can only imagine.
Well, a lot of emotions ran through me, but again, I felt, these emotions coming up are not going to really help. I really need to have a clear mind, and that's what I always revert to as Buddhism anyway. I chant. So I remember chanting when I got the news, and I said to myself, you know what? I am going to embrace this with love. I'm just going to really, really look at this at the standpoint that this is part of life, and that these are things that are happening. And, I'm not going to play that I'm a victim, but I'm going to look at it from the standpoint is, how can I make a change? How can I really help contribute towards this not happening to someone else, right? Mm-hmm. And I thought, you know what? I have to raise a better son. And when I say raise a better son, I don't mean like I have to do better as a mom to really make sure that my son, never is subjected or becomes, part of something like that.
Because
right?
he was also incarcerated for a time before, right?
Correct.
After your son was born, he went to prison.
Correct. Mm-hmm. And it's hard. It's hard when you have someone who's close to you who, is in prison. I mean, people go to prison for many, many different reasons. And the fact that they're in prison alone is hard to deal with. And I just remember just saying to myself, and because of my Buddhist practice and the study, that, you know what, I'm just going to take it a day at a time. I'm just going to have to focus on what's in front of me. At that time, I grew depressed, as, anyone else I believe would. And a lot of women do, because, you're doing it alone, and you have someone who's supposed to be part of your life, helping you raise, a child that you've created together, and they're away. And at the beginning, because it's something that I was never subjected to, I, really just focused only on my son, Zach. I neglected myself. I became really heavy. I was suffering. But, I tried. There were days where I really tried to pull through and shift the focus a little back on me, where I'd, go for a walk with him in a stroller, or figure out ways that I can do some home workouts, eat better, right? Mm-hmm. But it was hard. I think the feeling of just depressed, guilt, shame overwhelmed me at times. And being a new mom, you're subjected to postpartum. You have so many other things to deal with, trying to figure out what's happening with your baby when he's crying, and making sure that, you're doing the right thing, especially with your firstborn, right? Mm-hmm. You always want to do everything right. So I had all that against me. Well, not against me. I had all that to focus on. And of course, me, Fabienne, put in the back burner. And I think because I was able to really just put my focus all on Zach, that, he was able to really just be and take that happy part of my being. But again, I suffered. I became really heavy to a point where I'm only 5 feet 1 inches, and I weighed about 196 pounds was the heaviest I've ever been in my life.
Mm-hmm. And for your height, that's a lot.
For my height, that is, that's like almost 55%, or if not more, body fat. Okay. And that's high. I remember not being able to walk up the stairs easily, having knee issues, heart palpitation. And of course, that doesn't help with depression, right? Doesn't help the situation, because when you're heavy, your body's not at its optimal best. right? So your moods, everything is against you. Some way, somehow, through chanting, I just felt like I always was able to vibrate higher. That energy through chanting really helped me to raise my energy level a little bit, to feel happy during the day and then cry at night.
Did you have any other support system?
Well, the thing is, after this whole situation where I realized that, I'm a single mom and I'm going to have to make some choices where I make sure that I'm financially capable of managing it all, I decided to move to Pennsylvania. And so I've always had a place here where I rented it out. And so I thought, it's time to move in. And so I did. I moved in. And because I made that decision, I was away from family. I was away from my sister who lives out in Long Island. So that's about 3 hours away. My mom was out in New York. My father lives overseas. My support system was just really the members who I chant with. I had a neighbor here. They're an older couple. They've helped me along the way.
For a lot of people who may be listening, not everyone may know exactly what it is and what the core principles are. Can you just kind of give us like a quick overview of how your faith really plays into your life and what it really brings to your life?
My faith really is to help one believe in self, honestly. I think that this practice has really helped me through all these challenges and tribulations through the principle of really understanding that, we have innate potential and all we need to do is just tap into it. This practice really helped me understand that I'm interconnected with everything around me and that I'm not separate from them. It's hard to grasp that. This practice has helped me understand it on a deeper level. And that is why I was able to just really break through so many different deadlocks and challenges. This practice is about, working through your life, really doing your human revolution, really, searching from within what it is, you are or what you really feel connected to, who you really are. I think this practice helps you understand that. And it also is for practice for others, meaning that you and your environment are one, and we don't live on earth by ourselves. So with that being said, is that it helps you understand how you can relate to others, how what's happening in your environment is a direct reflection on who it is that you are on the inside. I think that the core principle, or from that principle or that understanding, I was able to always ask questions. Why am I a single mom? What is it about my life that attracted that, right? Why am I so heavy? What is it about that in my life, or what is it that I'm doing that's causing me to become heavy, right? So whenever I asked myself those questions, I've always realized that it put me in action mode. So Buddhism is all about really taking action, right? Is really search within, find some peace, find some neutral, try to find that calmness in within, and then now take action based on what it is that you want to accomplish or do. So
tell me about the day that you decided to take action with your life and really build out who you wanted Fab to be.
I think I've been doing that all my life. I just didn't really believe I was. And when I started to really believe and see that everything I was doing was towards that, then it really helped me open my eyes to really seek more wisdom from within and not second guess myself, not doubt myself. So with that being said, I remember getting up and saying, hey, it's time to change this. I'm going to lose this weight. I'm going to get out of this depression, and I'm going to really make a change. So I decided to reach out to different trainers. I joined a gym. I started working with a trainer. I did get some results, but then he moved away. Then I joined another gym. Couldn't understand the program really. It didn't resonate with me. So, I searched for something else. So I was always seeking. Put it this way, I was always seeking. I never gave up, and I finally, I remember driving by this main road here and seeing this new little studio pop up in my town. And I said, you know what, I'm going to stop in and see if they can help me. Because I always didn't really understand how to put the exercise workouts with the diet part. Anyhow, I went in, and I remember meeting with the owner and a worker there, and just speaking to him and saying how determined and I want to lose this weight, and him just showing me, the work that he's done with other clients. And so I said, I'm going to join. And when I joined, I felt like this deep-seated calmness. Like, you know what? I think this is it. This is where I'm going to really make this change, because the way he explained the program to me just really tied in with my Buddhist practice. And I thought, you know what? I'll sign up. So I signed up, and that's where it began. That's where the shift began. I started working out with him consistently, sort of never really canceled a workout.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break from the episode so that we can do our Dreams and Drive tip of the week. And today's tip is all about make sure that you understand who your audience is, right? And when I say who, you really need to understand every single thing about your audience. Defining your audience and really segmenting your audience down is crucial to building your brand. It's crucial along your dream driving journey. A lot of times people, when they're starting out, right, they're not really thinking about who they're trying to speak to. Now, for example, for Dreams and Drive in the beginning, right, if I said, Raina, who's your target audience? I could have just said millennial, multicultural millennials. That could be anyone, right? We all are multicultural millennials. But no, I had to really segment, male, female, what age range, where do they live, what do they eat, what are their challenges, what are some of the things they enjoy doing outside of work, in work. Who is their what's their personality like? There's so many things that you want to really, really narrow down. Create a target person, right? Name this person. Fill out all the characteristics for this person, right? And now you'll have your target listeners. If you had an event and you had 100 people who fit this demographic, your event would be a success because they all would find value. So the idea of having a target audience is really so that you are creating content that is specific to a certain need, what somebody truly wants. And I think a lot of times, a lot of newbie entrepreneurs, they don't spend enough time on really figuring out who their audience is and what their audience wants. And then they suffer because they're not understanding how to really make the product fit the customer. It's not about you. You could have an idea of what you want your product to be. At the end of the day, you have to make sure that your product is what somebody else wants and what more than one person wants. So doing the research on your audience will be very crucial. One of the things that I have done for the podcast to really understand you guys more is do that survey. So if you haven't taken the survey already and you want to, just go to dreamsanddrive.com/survey. And although it is, an opportunity for people to win a gift card, it also is an opportunity for me to do market research, right? I'm asking specific questions about the audience so that I can go back in and analyze those results and understand what are the core needs. And if you've been a listener since day one, you may have felt like the podcasts were becoming more and more relatable, were becoming what you guys wanted to hear. It was a good mix, and that's for a reason. I'm thinking about what would my audience want me to ask this person, because that's what's truly important. If you're building a brand, it's not about you. And if it's about you all the time, then you probably shouldn't be building a brand. You should just have a journal and have a hobby. So that was my tip of the week. Make sure that you are truly figuring out who your target audience is and taking the time to specify all the details about what comprises this person, who they are, all that good stuff. Now, I do have a branding checklist on the site that you can download and will really help you flesh out some more things when it comes to defining who your target audience is. And you can get that by going to dreamsanddrive.com/free. That's dreamsanddrive.com/free. Let's get back to the episode. It just seems like you're somebody who's really in tune with what your body is telling you. Even when you were younger, right? You said that you had this vision that you were going to be part of something bigger, right? It was a very colorful vision. Like you always seemed to be very aligned with your body and your thoughts. Was this something that you had to develop over time, or do you think it was something that's just like one of your natural gifts?
It's actually really one of my natural gifts that I needed to understand. So because I didn't understand it, it was hard for me to keep up or to stay connected with my body and my mind, right? It's that mind and body connection. I feel like because of the way I was raised, very traditional, very I would say, strict, in a strict household, it was hard for me to really feel comfortable in allowing myself to believe in the thoughts and the feelings and the connection that I had, right? So it was sort of like in and out, in and out. And that's the thing about Buddhism, going back to the earlier question, is the core principle is connecting the mind and body. Okay, we chant to connect the mind and body, and through cause and effect, meaning the causes you make, there's an effect. So it's the same with your mind and body. So yes, I always had this connection, this calmness about my body and my mind. But it was now just marrying the both, if that makes sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense. And I think it's something that we all, I can't say we all desire to have this. I feel like you have to have the awareness to even want to desire to have it. You know what I mean? That alignment. But let's go back to when you said you were being consistent. You were showing up. What were the results like? What was the end result? It's not the end because you're still on, I'm pretty sure you're still working out and all that stuff. But kind of take us through this transformation that you went through, both through mind, body, and spirit.
I felt like this transformation really helped me connect more to nature and really look at things in a more simplistic way or in a more simple way, right? I remember that through the workouts, which were just, repetitive moves that I was doing, that I was just eager to see a change really quick. And at the time, my trainer, would let me, when I sort of got ahead of myself, would just help me understand, this is where you're at, and let's just stick with this one goal. The ultimate goal was to drop like 80 pounds, right? But hey, what about this month? We have a goal for this month, and it's just to drop about 8 pounds. So let's just focus on that. And I just remember saying to myself, I really need to just calm down. I just really need to embrace this. There's nothing I can do. I'm already where I'm at. I'm already making I just need to love where I'm at. And I think that was a challenge for me and a battle that I was able to overcome through consistency, meaning because I never canceled my session and every time I showed up, I was able to fall in love with my body while I was heavy, if that makes sense. Meaning I was so disgusted about my body, but because I became consistent with the workouts, I began to love my being heavy where I was at the time. Meaning I remember being 170 something pounds and saying to myself, oh, I can't wait for this pound to get off. And then when I started to hit 160, I really loved being 160. I was still heavy, but I just really loved being where I was. I sort of became more present. I sort of became to embrace just me where I'm at the moment, if that makes sense.
Why is that self-love so important for any type of transformation that you're trying to make? So a lot of people listening in, they maybe are in different journeys in life, right? But why do you think that self-love is going to be a critical component to that transformation and that dream-driving journey?
I think self-love is something that is misunderstood. And the reason why it's really important, because everything stems from self-love. Everything, well, put it this way, everything, anything positive stems from self-love, and anything negative stems from self-hate. When you feel good, that happy feeling that you get about anything literally opens up your life to for you to receive some type of happiness or something in return, cause and effect, right? Mm-hmm. You're happy, you're feeling happy, so you're going to receive something in return. You're sad, you're upset, you're going to receive something in return. And what are you going to receive in return when you're happy and you love yourself, meaning you feel okay with who you are and where you are at the moment, is just pure peace. But when you're self-hating, meaning you're upset, you're angry, you're complaining, you tense up, you receive, that negative energy.
People don't realize just how much those little things that you aren't necessarily thinking about matter, right? Like, if you're doing any type of transformation, if you're trying to get anywhere in life, you have to love yourself. And a lot of people just try to accomplish things without actually learning who they are. And I admire how self-aware you are and how you are willing to do the work. And I think that's something that a lot of people want to run away from, right? It's like, right. You got baggage, but you keep wanting to carry the baggage in your trunk and it's weighing you down. And a lot of us just have a hard time taking the baggage out the trunk.
Right.
And it takes a while for us to come to peace with that we have baggage and that we aren't perfect and that we're a working journey or a working progress,
Self-love is not something, it's not a destination. What I truly feel is that nothing in life is like you get to a destination. Everything is a constant working at it, because that's just the flow of life. It's ebb and flow, right? You have to keep working at things, meaning you don't get to a point where you love yourself so much that nothing could ever stop you from loving yourself. That's not true. Every day you're working at something, because we have our weaknesses, we have our strengths, right? And if someone or something taps at that weakness, you're going to feel a little funny about yourself. And that might, trigger some type of self-hatred, some way, somehow, saying or thought in your mind. So self-love is not something that you just get so much of and then eventually, hey, I love myself so much.
You're healed. No. I can do anything now because I have self-love.
If literally you have self-love now, but 30 minutes from now, something might happen that triggers, or questions your self-love or changes the level at the self-love that you had 30 minutes ago. You understand? Mm-hmm. Because things are just constantly changing. Okay. And I think that ties back to my understanding of Buddhism, is that we travel through these different life conditions on a day-to-day basis, on a moment-to-moment basis. It's like 3,000 realms in a single moment, meaning you're traveling through different situations in life, unknowingly or knowingly, and yourself has to be present to face that, right? So, for example, what I mean by that is that self-love. For example, I signed up to do a show, and at the time, doing a bodybuilding show is really tough. I mean, you have other competitors who are working just as hard as you, and, you have judges looking at you and they're going to judge you, right? I can show up at that show having so much love for myself, right? Having so much good thoughts about myself. But some way, some deep down inside, some inkling thought or feeling might come up that might question that. It's like self-doubt or fear or whatever it is. And that can change the meter of the self-love that you have. So I feel like self-love is really hard to explain in that sense, but it's sort of like a meter. You have to look at it, or I look at it more as like a meter. Something that you got to constantly feed, okay? Because if you don't, life will deplenish it for you. You'll deplete it for you, right? Because you have people that you have to deal with. You have situations that you have to deal with. You have challenges, right? And all these things are going to either add to that meter, that self-love meter, or deplete.
How do you make sure that you're adding to it and that you're keeping it replenished?
I make sure that I do that by finding some time for myself, at least an hour a day, where I chant. So for me, people call it meditation or prayer, chanting. That is how I start. I try my best to commit an hour a day to really just do that. Then, and that I do early in the morning before anyone else in my home wakes up, right? So I'm at peace. Then the second way that I add to that self-love meter is that I take action for self. I work out, right? I eat well. I work. I take care of my son, and I do everything else.
So one of the things that I want to make sure that we talk about, because I think it's just so cool, is that, you turned this passion of yours or this transformation that you were going through in your life into a business, and you realized that you could help other people who were also on this fitness journey. Talk to us about Fabz Fit and what you're building, your app, everything that kind of happens once you, I don't want to say completed, but that you realize that you now could be a vessel to help other people in their own journeys.
Absolutely. Well, let me tell you this. The formula for losing weight or working on, getting a fit body is simple. You eat right, you exercise, and you get your results, right? However, what people, I feel, struggle with is the emotional part of it. Okay, they have so many other things in their life that they have to deal with that interferes with them working on self, okay, or finding time where they can work on getting this fit body or losing the weight that they would like. And I said to myself, how can I help people who constantly come up to me and say, wow, Fabienne, how did you transform? Or you look great. Or, I want to be like you, or you inspire me. I get all these, comments and feedback. And I said to myself, it's nice to hear, of course, and it's a boost to your ego. But truthfully, every time I get a compliment, I feel like I have to help that person who's complimenting me or who's complaining about or who wants help. Understand how really simple it is, and that if I can get them to declutter their mind, if I can get them to really find time to focus, even if it's 30 minutes a week, okay, to understand what it is in their life that they need to work on, which is the emotional part, I would be, really, I would be accepting their applaud or their comment or just their nice words with much more deep appreciation, with more purpose, right? That this transformation really meant something. Because it's so easy for someone to look at a nice body and say, wow, she looks great, but not understand the journey, not understand why what's keeping them from getting that body. It's funny. But anyhow, I so many people know me, and how do I connect with them, right? How do I stay connected with them? And everyone's on social media. Everyone, we all connect on internet, through the internet. So I said, an app is probably the best way for me to really answer or help others who are happy for me or who wants to make a change or inspired by my transformation. So I created this app, and the app is just to take care of the simple part. The app is just to take care of the clean eating, the workout, and the results. Okay, so that's what the app does.
You did it yourself?
No, I didn't do it myself. What happened is there's a program through a developer, and I contacted them, explained to them what my situation was, and they worked with me and helped me customize so that it represents my brand. And so that's what I did. I worked with a developer.
Back to the story. So you got the app, and then what? How did you get people to know about it? How did you start getting people to sign up for it or working with your clients through the app?
So people like to train with me because of my transformation. I think they feel like, one, I'm not pretentious, or I'm approachable, and I understand. I've been through, where the journey. So so many people stopped me and wanted to train with me, wanted to know exactly what I do or did. And because of that, getting the clients wasn't difficult at all, because they were my friends. They're my family, They're people who don't even remember that I was even that heavy. I have people that didn't even remember my before pictures.
Wow.
So it was that easy. And because people trust me and they want to work with me. So I, at the time, wasn't sure how I was going to do it all. And I thought, it's time for me to really just take that leap and see if I can connect with them in that manner. And, that's what's happening. That's what's been happening.
Is this your core revenue stream as of now? Or are you still doing, other things, or are you basically just doing training through the app as your core revenue?
Oh yeah, no, I'm actually still doing everything that I did right before the app. This app was really just so that I could connect to every person who comes to me and who feels that they need help, and how do I help them? I want to help them. So right now, I have videos that I send my friends and family and their friends, and I do, consultation. And our conversations are usually about time management, okay? Are usually about stress that they're dealing with as far as dealing with different situations in their life. It's not anything about eating or workouts, because, like, again, I told you, those are simple, and when we talk about that, I'm able to help them in just some, I don't know, subliminal way. I think because I'm able to connect, because I'm so self-aware, and because I have this natural way of connecting my mind and body, I think that they in some way, somehow understand. And they connect their mind and body, meaning they realize, wow, I'm reaching out for this drink because I'm upset about this situation.
They see a problem, right? And they think the problem, let's say it's, I'm overweight. They think the problem is I eat too much food, right? But that may not be the real problem. There's a lot of other factors that go into it. So I love that you're talking about, like, thinking about this from a holistic standpoint, like thinking about it from multiple points, because you may go to a doctor and they may just say exercise every day and you don't see any results, because it's more than just that. And I think even with anything that we're trying to do, and to kind of bring this full circle, is we need to be really aware of all the ingredients are going into, into the puzzle. Like, that's not the right metaphor. we need to think of all the, all the puzzle pieces, and not just the one that you think is the one that's gonna close or finish the masterpiece. There's so many other things that need to be factored in. And a lot of times we just kind of want to live our life in silos. When we open it up to all the different elements, I think that's when we really start to see change.
You see the effect, but what is the cause, right? And that's why I tie my transformation to my Buddhist practice, because, again, it's all about cause and effect. There's something causing you. The effect is the overweight. The effect is the end result of what you're doing. But why are you doing what you're doing, right? So a lot of people begin exercising or begin a project or begin, eating right, and then they stop. It's because they didn't tackle that main problem, which they sometimes don't even realize that they have, And I think because I'm able to connect on that level, people are attracted to me. They want to speak to me. To tell you the truth, the app, again, was to take care of the simple part, which is the workouts, the clean eating. But I consider myself more of an accountability partner. Okay? Mm-hmm. Because remember, because I believe in myself, I therefore believe in other people's potential. And so what I really do is what I see is that I help them believe in their own potential. And that's why they're getting results with me, because I have this way of helping them see that this isn't within themselves. So their lifestyle, they begin to have more control and make changes that make sense to them, because not every one person is the same. Not every one body is the same. Not every one person is coming with the same issue, right? Some people, they want to lose weight, but they have other issues. They may have knee issues. They may have like depression. They come with their own problem, right? But how do I help them tap into that potential that I already know they have? And that's what I do. That's why I think I'm attracting them. It's because they want to believe. They know look at marketing and the media. Mm-hmm. Everywhere you go, you find some magic potion or some program that someone's selling, some challenge that someone is giving you to help you lose weight. You do it, you lose a few pounds, and then you gain it back. So there's this control component that people are searching for that they can't seem to grasp, right? And it's not something you can give to someone. It's not something you can make someone do. It's something that you have to help someone tap into. That's what I feel that this studio that I went to and I worked out at, that helped me through my transformation. And that also resonated with my Buddhist practice, helped me tap into, okay? Meaning my workouts weren't crazy workouts that I see other people doing, breaking their backs. They were simple, conditioned movements. They were just very simple, like life is supposed to be simple, okay? But what kept me going was the fact that I knew I can do it. Because I have this gift of being able to connect mind and body, I feel like when I meet someone, no matter in what condition and whatever their goal is, I am able to help them see through it.
What tips, let's say, give our listeners one tip, somebody who's trying to make a transformation in their life, where do they need to start?
Well, the first step that they need to take or to work on is their vision. Mm-hmm. They first need to say to themselves, answer this question, what is it that I really want? That's number one. I want to weigh 120 pounds. They first need to define their goal. That's the first thing. Mm-hmm. Second thing is, once they've defined their goal, they need to say, okay, I know my goal. I'm going to now move my focus to how and what steps I need to take to meet that goal. So their focus needs to be in the here and now, meaning I already know that I'm 200 pounds and I want to weigh 120 pounds. All right, that's a given, done deal. Now, let's put this on the shelf for now. Now we're going to take a look at the steps that I need to take on a day-to-day basis that's going to take me closer to my goal. And that's where their focus needs to be. Their focus needs to be in the present. They need to be able to say to myself that I'm no longer going to worry about getting there. All I know is that I need to look at the journey and what I need to do today. Meaning it is breakfast time. What am I having for breakfast? Okay. Now that I've eaten breakfast, when is my next meal? And what am I going to eat for my next meal? Okay. And what I'm eating, is that taking me closer to my goal or away from my goal?
So what is it that you're trying to build now? Like, what's the dream? What is it that you're working towards building?
An organization or a society of healthy, happy people.
I like that you have that happy, because you could be healthy and not happy, right?
That is why we're all born. We're all born to be happy. Our existence, our purpose is to live out our mission to contribute towards that so that other people can become happy and be happy too. Think about it. We go through we're facing the issues that we're facing in the world. It's because it all boils down to not being happy, right?
So true.
Everything stems from that one simple life state is just truly being happy and at peace.
So what keeps you going, Fab? I know you mentioned earlier that, the two best things that happened to you when you moved to New Jersey were, Buddhism and your son, right? And you mentioned your son as just the moment you looked at him, this feeling of calm, this feeling of peace, this feeling of purpose. How does he play out into the legacy that you're trying to build, the legacy that you want to leave behind for him?
My son is a mirror of me. The way that he's playing his role is helping me to see who I really am, because he mirrors me. The fact that I get up every morning, I realize that I still have to keep going. My mission is complete when I'm no longer living. I do have a competitive nature, and I think that keeps me going. The fact that I need to always prove to myself I can do it. I feel like I'm responsible for myself. I feel like if I don't do it, it won't get done. Nothing comes from nothing. So the minute it's like this hunger, it's like knowing the fact that I have to do it. If I don't do it, no one else will ever do it. I think is why I keep going, is why I keep seeking, is why I keep, trying to just push myself further and further and further.
What do you think is the biggest lesson you've learned throughout your dream driving journey? Thinking about everything that you've gone through, all the positives, all the negatives, all the trials, all the tribulations, just one thing that just really stands out in your journey that has been a lesson and a guiding point for you.
Karma, which also ties back into cause and effect. For every cause, there's an effect. With that realization, it really forces me to keep active and to be aware of self and stay connected to self, to work on self, because truly everything is a direct reflection of me. Every situation that I've encountered, every challenge, every victory was truly a direct reflection of what I was thinking or doing. It didn't come from anything or anywhere else. The family I was born into, I feel, was a direct reflection of who I was in my past life. With that realization, it's become the navigating force for the way I do things. I mean, it's a challenge sometimes because, you still have your feelings, you still have the ego, you still have certain things to work on. But however, I always remember that one lesson, or that's the one thing that I keep at the center of my life, is that it all begins and ends with me.
Oh, that was such a great way to segue into our lightning round, Fab. So at this point of our interview, I'm going to give you a prompt, and I want you to tell me the first thing that comes to mind. And remember, we're going to be sticking with our whole dreams and drive metaphor, all right? So if you've listened to episodes, you know how this part goes, okay?
Yes, I do.
All right. So the first word is park.
When I think of park, you know what? I've actually written that down, because I remember listening to an episode, and I said, how do I feel at that moment? Sleeping.
Reverse.
Past.
Neutral.
Sound of the universe.
Drive.
Action.
If you want to be a dream driver, you have to have your keys to success. So tell me 3 things, Fab, that you think every dream driver needs in their toolkit before they hit the road.
Meditation. Good friends or a mentor. And a journal.
Oh, that is so important. Journals. I feel like journaling saved my life from I felt like I was I don't know how to say this. I was very in tune with my feelings as a young child. And I remember just always writing, like looking back at them, and I saved all my journals. I was like, wow, I was having some profound thoughts in the 3rd grade, right? But imagine if I hadn't been able to get those thoughts out. I think a lot of times the practice of journaling, I hope they still do that in elementary school. Remember, we had to have a journal in elementary school. Hopefully they still do that. You may not know why that's so important, but just having that as part of your daily routine was something that now looking back, I appreciated so much. I really do.
I do too. I didn't realize how powerful it was as well, because this is, again, part of the working on self. That is part of self-love, being able to really accept how you're feeling, what's happening in your life, and writing it down. I think there's a connection between the pen and your life that is truly, truly mystical. Okay. And that's why people encourage others to write their goals. I mean, I've noticed a few mentors really focus on people writing your goals, or, when you write your goals, wonders happen. There's something mystical about writing. And when you do it for yourself, it opens up another part of your life, or it opens your life. We're all part of the universe, or at least that's what I believe, right? We're no separate from it. And I think that it brings you closer to that rhythm, right? Just like the sun rises and sets, right? Our lives have that cycle. And writing, I feel, puts me more in tune with that cycle, which is the natural way of life, the rhythm of life, the rhythm of the universe.
I had one more question. I know I keep saying one more.
No, keep going, Raina. You let me go when you're ready.
What?
Because I know. Yeah, go ahead.
What resources can people who really want to, beyond your app, beyond checking out your app, what resources would you recommend to those who want to put themselves onto this self-care, self-love, self-awareness journey? Because I know that your story and what you have been known for is, this fitness transformation that you've made. But what I'm hearing is it's so much more than just the body, right? But give us some resources that you would recommend to people listening in.
Yes, absolutely. I would recommend sgi-usa.org. I would recommend that you go on that website and take a look, poke around, actually watch a few videos, and really see, how people has helped people who are going through the same thing that you're going through, was able to transform or also break through. They're in 192 countries, the SGI, and I feel that this organization really truly understand, or is the foundation of learning humanity. Okay? I think that we learn so many different subjects, but there isn't really something or at least maybe the Bible is supposed to do this for you, help you understand humanity. And I think that website will really help you understand. It's the study of human beings, the study of just understanding life and the way humans operate and why. And I think once you have that tool, it'll open you up to a new world or to a new way of thinking, and your perspective of life will change.
So tell us, Fab, where can our dream drivers find you online if they want to get in touch with you or want to be involved with Fabz Fit? Let us know now.
Yes, fabzfit.com is one place that you can connect. Also, Instagram, Facebook, all is Fabz Fit. If you enter that, you'll connect with me. You'll find me. You can download the app, Fabz Fit app, available for iPhone and Androids, and schedule an assessment. This assessment is complimentary, and I get to learn a little more about you, which is the reason why I set this up. And then you get to ask any questions about my transformation or any struggles that you're going through.
And it's FABZFIT, right?
Yes, .com.
All right. Thank you so much, Fab. This has been so extraordinary talking to you. I feel like I learned so much, and I hope that our dream drivers are inspired and motivated as well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Raina. And I appreciate what you're doing, because not only are you giving us an opportunity as entrepreneurs to connect with people who are seeking or wanting to looking for us too. I think that you bridge that gap, and Dreams and Drive definitely does that. You have two worlds that you're trying to connect here, and I appreciate the work that you're doing. Thank you.
All right, so that's a wrap for episode 102 with Fabienne Daniel. I hope that you enjoyed hearing her dream driving story as well as her keys to success. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, the best thing you could do is probably share it with someone else. One of the best ways that the podcast has grown over the past few months is just by word of mouth. So if you are on social media, why don't you screenshot where you're listening to this on and, share it there, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. I really do appreciate all the shares that we've been getting over the past few weeks. Just make sure to tag us. We are Dreams and Drive, or you can use the hashtag Dreams and Drive when sharing as well. I also want to say, if you are an Apple Podcast listener, make sure that you are reviewing, and subscribing within the app. I do appreciate going in and seeing all the ratings and the reviews and reading them, and it just touches my heart to know that you dream drivers appreciate the show and are getting so much value from it. If you want today's show notes, just go to dreamsanddrive.com and click on episode 102. And remember, we are partnering with Curls for a giveaway. So if you want to win their triple threat collection, just go to dreamsanddrive.com/win and you can enter there. And that contest will be ending September 4th, 2017. So make sure that you are entered. As always, keep dreaming, keep driving, and we're going to chat again in episode 103.